I never expected to shoot any of the film at Rochester because even though the castle still exists, it still stands. It's surrounded by a town. You know, there's literally, you come out of the castle and there's a Waitrose right in front of you.
Waitrose is a pharmacy or a market?
It's a supermarket.
Supermarket.
Yeah, sorry. There's a Sainsbury's. We have
Sainsbury's. No, we don't have those.
Okay, Gelson's. There's a Gelson's right up to the castle.
Good.
So it's surrounded by a modern town. You know, most of the castles that still exist are they were either built in, you know, besides rivers, which is where Rochester is, or roads, and they now have modern towns around them, or they were built at the top of mountains, you know, or hills. So they're very inaccessible. So I never expected to use the real place. Plus, castles are, you know, they're fine to film in for a couple of days, maybe for exterior shots or something. But for filming in for weeks on end, they're really difficult because the corridors are really tiny and people were kind of smaller back then, and you know, the stairs are really narrow, and they're kind of dangerous places because they're falling apart. Plus, you can't do anything with them because they're 1,000-year-old monuments. And in our story, the castle gets completely destroyed over the course of the film. So the plan right from the beginning was always to basically rebuild from scratch Rochester Castle. And we were looking, one of the big production challenges was to find a piece of land, a plot of land, where we could actually build Rochester Castle. And we found such a place in Wales. We found a studio, a brand new studio that had never been used in Wales, where there were 4 new stages, but it was also they had 25 acres of countryside, and that was owned by the studio. And we did a great deal with the Welsh government and some local Welsh businesses and stuff to bring that entire production there, and the whole movie was based at this new Welsh studio called Dragon Studios just outside of Cardiff. And we rebuilt Rochester Castle at the studio, and the whole film was basically made there. And I think it was a decision that, you know, it was expensive going into it, but by our budget standards as an independent film and with the resources we had, but I think it was a key decision that you see all of that production value on the screen. I mean, 80% of the story of the film was based at that castle. So you really see that production value, and all the battles take place there. There are 3 large-scale battles in the film, and then the whole climax of the movie, and everything takes place at the castle. So I think it was a good decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we had everything we needed at this place. We had 4 sound stages that we could build all the interiors in, and amazing Welsh crew. I mean, these guys were unbelievable, especially with the weather and all the usual matters you deal with. It was perfect.
It was a large construction. I mean, the construction of the castle was a 14-week construction project. There was one moment where I went onto the top of a hill. I was looking at countryside locations near close by, and I was driving around with some local guy who was showing me fields and hills and rivers, and you know, that was kind of all nice. And we came over the top of a hill, and we looked down across this valley, and there was this huge structure, and we thought, what the hell is that? And then we actually realised it was our set and it was the castle being erected, and you could see it from like 10 miles away. And from that distance, it looked like a real castle. So it was kind of amazing, and I think at the time I believe it was the largest castle set in the world. You know, it was up. The Welsh government was set up for about a year after we finished filming, or 6 months after we finished filming, and it's now being taken down, sadly. They try to keep it up as a kind of to promote the area and to attract other productions to use it.